We're live. Hello. Welcome everyone to chatWater D&D, the show where we chat all things Blackwater. And today we are joined by a very special guest.
Is it me?
Who's that?
Who is it?
Who is it? It's Lennon. Len, we're so happy you're here.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here too.
You're Yanis tonight. So be prepared for
do I get to derail?
You do?
Yes, it is encouraged.
Yeah.
Derailment is encouraged.
Good calves are encouraged.
Mnemonic?
Mnemonic.
I don't know why I made up a whole word that wasn't that word, and now I don't trust it. I'm like fucking Cumberbatch with penguin.
Penguin, no.
Cumberbatch is terrified of the word penguin now.
Penguin, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to set a timer and we'll talk about the previous session.
Speaking of not knowing proper nouns, Callie had a fun little...
Oh my god.
I think that was
Callie?
possibly...
Just Callie?
Well, this is my, up to date, my favorite Callie and Kamea moment.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Going to your wife to bail you out.
You're like, please help me. Please
help me. Mostly bailing you out and then fucking with you just a little bit. That was beauty.
Oh,
yeah.
Kamea, I don't know. I don't like apologizing. Sky Singer fucking with her wife for all those drunken phone calls in the middle of the night.
Is that what it's for, or is it just because she wants me to be safe?
I mean, I feel like
if she wanted you to be safe, she'd give you the thumbs up when you left. Like, that's
and give you the correct names.
I think if I was in the position that Kamea was in, if I had a wife and she came to me and was like, I forgot all my friends' names. I did something dumb. What are their names? And I was making the decision to flip two of them. That would be me like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to help you because I love you. You're also going and may die. But I also need them to know.
Yeah.
And I know you won't tell them. Like, yes. I know you won't tell them.
Just getting you to be honest with the party. I love that. I love that so much.
I like that read. Yeah, that's good.
So.
You know your wife. You know your wife.
We've been married for how long? Oh my god.
Oh, DeMarco. I think DeMarco just rated us. Hi, folks.
Look at those eggs.
Look at all those eggs. Hi, team. Thanks for coming over. What a delight.
We were just talking about our last session.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to love. You know what I want to talk about?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Fucking walking straight into Tim Carlson's timey-wimey paradox and nonsense.
I know!
With the fucking display. Oh, I like that name. I think I'll make it my name forever. And I was like, fuck!
Yeah.
He sent me back to the future.
Pulling a real wibbly-wobbly timey-wimey.
So that moment I didn't fully get. I was like... what's happening? I like messaged Jen. I was like, please explain what just happened to me. I think that whole moment, all the moments in the study were just like
just a blur.
Chaos.
I mean, I think it was really Blackwater like letting go of the breath that they had been holding for maybe 6 weeks. Since we got into Halora's house. And I think we expected, like, I know we've talked about this a lot, like we've expected like after we got Limerick that we were going to go home from Garyang and it was going to be this wonderful thing. And then the fucking matron shows up and then we realized, and then it just wasn't. And then it was really anticlimactic getting back to Wolfreen. And then we're like, oh, fuck, we got to go to Manto. Fuck, we got to take Kato. Oh, damn it, the Sunspeaker died. What the fuck? And then Kokanee's seal is gone. Like, what the
I know.
Like, we're all just like, can we just have a little breather, please?
And the answer is no.
And the answer is no. But we got to play a little bit in the study. The illusion of safety.
I will take your breather and counter offer, give you a mental roulette.
Yeah, mental roulette. But I think Tim knows we love that shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I live for it.
Like, I love that shit. And when I was gonna make the stealth check to see if Callie was gonna pull another book, I rolled for it. Not because Callie wouldn't. I knew Callie would. But because I was like, oh, can I do this to my friends, like my in real life friends? And
Yes.
I was like, evens I do it, odds I don't.
But I mean, you rolled for it. That was like, that's the true love of the dice. Like, I think that's great. And it's just like Neppy's just being there, being like, everything, we have so much to do. Please, nobody forget because she's like, because the last time we were in there, Yana forgot 24 hours. And I was like, Neppy is not going to sit down again. And I mean, she would if she had to, but like, I'm not going to sit down again and explain 24 hours where people almost died again. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Well, like, the thing is, with what Callie forgot, one, we're lucky that it wasn't worse. Like, any slight of a bit worse. Imagine if it wasn't just names. It was just, I forgot you guys.
Like, the fact that, like, Tim made that table and he's scarified. Scarified. He's scarified. There we go. There's my word. He's scarified of that table that he made himself. I think that says a lot about the contents of that table.
Well, like, yeah.
And you succeed, and you can still fuck up. Like, what happens if you fail?
Your brain just liquefies through your nose when you roll a new character.
Fuck.
Like, I knew I wasn't gonna fail. I didn't know. I was pretty confident that I wasn't gonna fail. Because, believe it or not, and all the times I've gotten, like, dominated by any BEG, I have a plus 11 to intelligence savings.
That's wild.
What? Where'd you get the... What?
Callie has a plus 11.
She has her plus 4 from her paladin, and Callie's actually quite smart.
And I'm an Aasimar. So...
What?
And I don't know. Wisdom. Wisdom, I have a plus 11.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Mm-hmm.
Intelligence saving throws, I have a plus 5. I'm looking at it right now. Charisma saving, I have a plus 13.
Yeah.
So Dex and intelligence saving throws are my worst. So I have a plus 11 to wisdom saving throws, but I still managed to fail them. So I was pretty confident that I wasn't going to. But
I'll say this about the book. Sean Deppner is incredibly gambling adverse. I don't care for it. I'm like, I did the mental math of like gain, loss, what is it? And then I remembered that Letters has a 9 in wisdom, and Callie had made a crack about being the smartest in the party. And I was just like, fuck. Sean Deppner did not want to open the book because Sean Deppner loves Letters having lots of languages and like loves all that. Fucking with the book that it's like, give a secret, get a secret. Absolutely. Sean Deppner want to fuck with that. Letters enjoyed that a lot. But the books, and then like forgetting that you draw books, it was like time to draw another book because like fucking we're in this beat.
We both forgot, right? We both forgot.
And when you forgot the thing about Grob and Salkara that you like just
actually killed me.
I died.
That was
inside.
one of my favorite moments. I couldn't contain myself. Like that was so fucking funny.
But like perfect. And I was like,
so funny.
Just like, yeah, book. I think the chat came up with a name for it. They call it Bookshelf Roulette, and that is the title of that like hijinks. That moment of hijinks in the study is forever now known as Bookshelf Roulette.
But what if we look? You go ahead.
You.
Oh, me?
No, you go.
I got a 95 and I got a plus 1 to my intelligence. What happens if you roll a 100? We got to get back to that study. We got to keep rolling until we get a crit.
Have either of us gotten a 69?
We have got a 69.
You know Tim put something good on 69.
What happens when you get the nice knowledge?
Like,
You've mastered the Kama Sutra. That's what it is.
I've gained a language. I forgot 5 minutes, and I forgot all the names of my friends.
Sleight of hand.
I've pulled 3 books, and that's what I've lost. In that library, if we're talking about last episode, can we talk about 2 things from there?
Always, please.
Talk about whatever the fuck we want.
This is our show.
Callie has forgotten a death that has happened to her.
Yes.
That is not only, I think, a big trauma was a big trauma for her, which is why she wanted to forget it. Because she's died more than once. Like, you don't want to remember getting your brain ripped out. Like, that's fair, I guess. But now this is a trauma that her friends and her wife carries. and she has a visual like reminder of it for her friends and those people in her life. But Callie's not going to remember it.
Well, that's just like Neppy having to watch Yana. It's the same thing as like Neppy having to watch Yana almost get ground up in the meat grinder.
Yeah.
And Yana doesn't remember that.
It doesn't. And I think the thing with Callie, where I didn't think about this when I was choosing that this is the thing that Callie was going to forget. I just knew that she would probably, I think her thought process was wanting to remove a little bit of the weight that she has, that she carries around for herself. And the reason why I didn't pick the fight where she died, where she like ended up killing Kokanee and almost killing Letters, was because I don't want Callie to forget that, and I don't think she wants to forget that. And then I don't think she wanted to forget the fight where Letters killed her.
Oh yeah.
Because
reverse gravity.
Because that was also like a pretty significant moment between Callie and Letters. But forgetting this death, which I think is her first death with the party, like dead. I think that was her first revivify.
Yeah, I think that was your first dead.
I think that was my first dead. Like I've been unconscious and pretty close, but I think that was my first dead. I think me as the player now has to do some thinking of what this is going to do for Callie's risk assessment.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's because I mean,
it's an interesting point.
Since the meat prison, it has got to have been over a year in game, correct, Em? Ballpark.
It's ballpark.
Because we did have the 6 months after that. Like
it was the end of. It's like 9 months, maybe. Coming up in a year.
For like, because here's the thing, like. Remembering the cause is all well and good, but the habits you formed like over the last 9 months as a response to that, like
those are still there.
Yeah. So like your muscle memory, like however you've been playing, like there might even be a thing where Callie's like, why am I so nervous? Fuck it, I'm invincible. Like
Callie used to be pretty reckless.
That was
super reckless, but she was I don't know if she was wearing the Chaos Talisman. She also died early in that fight. Callie doesn't have a lot of memories from that fight because she died before a lot of stuff happened. I think she died before the Elder Brain was down.
Yes. Yeah.
And she died before the other Illithid were down. And then her friends went down and chased the boat.
We got Fildo back.
And got Fildo back. And she was just dead that whole time. Like, or unconscious, but.
No, you were dead.
Dead. Yeah. But then the thing that gutted me in that library is Kokanee forgetting his mom's name.
For fuck's sake. I was just like, oh, and like that's like the thing is like he's never canonically, I doubt he's ever told Neppy that. Like I don't think he's told Neppy that, so Neppy doesn't know. And like so when he said that, I was like, oh, I was gutted. Because it was just like, there goes any chance of him. Like, I mean, I guess, like, obviously I can't speak for Matt or Kokanee, but, like, the sense of, like, you know, Blackwater is his family. But yeah, I think man, that gutted me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was...
Yeah. How do we feel about going to the Shadowfell, where everything's are named the worst? Oh
Emma
no, the Dreadforest.
Fucking excited.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I've talked about this a little bit on chatWater before, but I have knowledge of the stuff that's down there, like Emma does. Neppy doesn't, and I'm super fine to keep the separation there. And I don't see. I'm not that kind of person. I've never let the lore that I know from either world building with Tim or the other campaign that we played, because in the other campaign, that's when we went to the Shadowfell. And we've been to the place that I think that we need to go. I don't know how to get there, but we've been to the place that I think we need to go. And it's like, oh, it's cool. It's really cool. It's really cool.
I have a question about this place that we're about to go.
Yeah.
Isn't this a place that we've been on a Adonis adventure?
No.
No, the sigil, the like wet realm of doors. Yes.
Oh, is that where we're going right now?
We're going to sigil first because we need to find the plane scribe.
There's so many different places.
We need to go to the sigil so that we can find the plane scribe, Arika Sarad, who we have not met yet. I thought we had, but we have not met Arika Sarad yet. And the plane scribe will be able to get us to the Shadowfell, I'm assuming for some price. I'm assuming we'll have to pay our way. But we have been to Sigil before. You were correct. Yeah, in my Adonis, the like my birthday one shot from.
That was the one with Exo Quick, right?
Yes,
that was just the one we played just like almost a year ago for us in real time.
Fuck me, yeah.
So I don't know much about the Shadowfell. It's something that I've never taken any of my players. I've never gone there as a player, but I do understand it is just the spooky basement of D&D. It's just like, the Underdark.
Can I tell you what the Shadowfell is? Because I know.
Please.
Yeah, go for it.
So you know when the sun comes out?
Yep.
And you've been watching your shadow because you've been like, the sun's been hitting it in a right spot. And you know when the cloud covers the sun and your shadow disappears?
Yeah.
Where do they go? They fall through the ground. And then all your shadows end up at the Shadowfell until the sun comes back up, and that's where we're going. It's just gonna be a bunch of people's shadows.
Interesting.
That sounds nice.
I
don't know why it sounds so bad.
I see the Shadowfell.
It's just where our shadows live.
When the sun comes, where do our shadows go? I see, because like I like to think of the planes as there's like polarity, and there's there's like extremity. The planes kind of exist in extremity. There's like the fire plane, the water plane, the air plane, the earth plane. There's always an antithesis, right? Like there is always a balance and a harmony. I see the Shadowfell as the opposite of the Feywild. Whereas the Feywild is full of bright and vibrance, and kind of like the color is turned up way too high. The magic is like overwhelming. I see the Shadowfell as everything is dark. It's muted. It's like the longer you're there, the more like you turn monochrome, and everything just kind of like the saturation just turns way down. Everything, the magic gets darker. You know, I mean, Fey magic can be dark, but there's always a bit of whimsy to it. We got no fucking whimsy in the Shadowfell. It's a no fun place.
Serious fell.
I would say, yeah, kind of like serious fell. And it's like I wouldn't say it's as necessarily evil as something, or like undead as like the negative energy plane, which is like you can't be alive in the negative energy plane. There is like nothing that is alive there, but there are things that live in the Shadowfell for sure. One thing that we actually do know is there, like we in the party know is there, is the Tree of Death, Gloom Theran. So the way it works in Tim's world is that there's almost like two trees that kind of exist like this, the opposite. They hold up the planes. The Thalbask, which is the husk of the tree that we found in Manta that we used to open the rift to the negative energy plane, which is now planted in Ishion and still lives. That is the Tree of Life. So that holds the lower planes in check. That holds all the hells in their space. That holds like the negative energy plane in its space. It holds all those dark, twisty spots in its place, the abyss, all that kind of stuff. Because without it, the planes start to thin, and then things can creep through.
Cool.
Yeah, and then Gloom Theran.
More of that. Let's fuck those trees up. Let's just make a big melting pot.
Welcome to the plot of the entire other campaign that I was in.
Let's get a big old wooden spoon and stir the astral chili. Like,
no, thank you.
Where's the astral sour cream?
I'm all about astral cheddar. Thank you. But the
astral chili.
but Gloom Theran holds the upper planes in check, so it holds all of the positive energy plane. Because if there is a negative energy plane, there's a positive energy plane. It would hold like a lot of the god planes in check. It would hold like Endymion and like the plains where people go when they die, the good ones anyway, in check. So that tree is planted in the Shadowfell and grows there. So my sense is we'll see it. Gloom Thuran is pretty rad. But yeah, as I said, what happens when the trees get messed up? The plot of the other campaign that was set in the world of Terrace that Tim was running. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds great. I'm sold.
Yeah.
Let's hurt the trees.
Let's not hurt the trees, because then bad things start happening.
We don't.
Well, no, because
we can hurt the trees.
Because bad things seep into the good planes. Good things seep into the bad planes. Ultimately, if everything is in parallel, then given enough time, everything finds its perfect center.
Yeah.
Everything is balanced.
Because Gloom Thuran hasn't had as many assaults to it as Thalbask has. So Thalbask was killed when in the Dawn War. And then it was planted and regrown on Ishion, and then it was torched. So the tree was burnt, but a bough of it was saved, and it has now been replanted again. Yeah, so the tree of life lives on.
Okay, let's even out those numbers.
By a thread.
Let's hurt the bad trees. I'm Sean Deppner, and I want to hurt trees. This is why I play D&D. I haven't told you this far, but I don't hurt trees in real life, and so that is why I play D&D, to get the opportunity
Chat right now is talking about D&D Lorax coming for you.
The fucking Shadowfell Lorax.
Oh god.
That would be a nightmare.
The tree keeper.
Just all eyes and teeth.
He moves it. He has a really long mustache, and he moves it, and he's just like all legs that are actually
no. His mustache is how he walks. He walks on the mustache.
Yeah, and his feet are just like dangling forward as his arms are like.
Where's I'm on this now. The Lorax from Shadowfell. Do you know Betty White's character in the Lorax movie? The old grandma.
Okay.
And then the mom, who's like the tree with the disco. It's the disco.
It's been so long since I've seen the Lorax movie.
I want to see them in dark form.
You've said it, and now it exists. That's how it works with chatWater. You said it, and now it exists.
You know what I said to Tim?
What'd you say to Tim?
When we were going through... for the life of me, this happens when we play on stream too. I know the names of places, and then I go to say them, and my mind goes blank. Where did Callie just get eaten by a worm? Where did
in Garyang.
Garyang. Okay, so we were just in Garyang, and when we were in Garyang, I was texting Tim, and I was like, I think it was right before we were crossing over a border into like giant territory, and I was like, "Hey Tim, this is the giants we're gonna encounter, right?" And I sent him a picture of the BFG. And I was like, just give me the BFG, please. And Tim said, now it exists. So somewhere in Garyang, there's a big friendly giant. And we never got to meet him, but somewhere in Garyang, there's a really friendly giant, because
he was in between where we teleported. I teleported us right over the BFG.
Right over the BFG. He's just
like waving as we go past.
He's like, oh.
Beans.
Oh gosh. I am like, well, I'm so curious about like what's going to happen in Sigil, because we're on such a like kind of a direct, because I mean that's how it is with one shots, right? You have kind of a direct path where you need to go. We go to the zoo because we're looking for a collector or something like that. Exo quick. And we could go visit that zoo again, but we don't know it exists. And then we went to see Ulgra the Accumulator, I think her name was. And we fought the fishbowl.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, she was a witch.
And there was like a shark in an ooze.
A shark, yeah, like a fishbowl ooze. It was like an oozasis, I think it was. Yeah. A shark in an ooze, a giant ooze. But, I mean, that all exists there. And, like, we're not going to see any of that. And the fact that our characters don't know about it, I'm just like, God dang it. There's so much cool shit there that Cornelius is there.
Oh my god, the turtle!
Yes, Cornelius is there, and we don't know he exists.
We're going to find Cornelius, and he will just be a perfect amalgamation of everyone's brand.
Cornelius.
Yes.
He will have been through all the doors to all the different settings. He's going to have horns. He's going to have a beautiful wife. He's going to be really into lore. He's only going to have 2 shirts. Like, he'll have his own tarantula. And
yes.
Yeah, that would be.
And he's also the most empathetic of all of us forever because he's had to listen to the rest of us like through the cosmos complain about other people's brands.
When we landed back in Wolfrain, and Callie went to go find her wife.
Mm-hmm.
Won't lie to you, Lennon forgot that the sun speaker had died. So when Tim was like, make an intelligence check, I was like, oh right, shit, no, yeah, you're right. The clutch save that Tim made there, because I forgot the sun speaker died. For a quick moment,
I was like, fair, there's been
wife.
A lot going on.
And then I was like, oh, her friend is dead. Whoops.
I guess that brings me to another question too. How is Callie doing? Because it's been a while since we've had you on the show. Like with everything that's happened lately, like how is our favorite paragon of the party, Calliope Sky Singer?
Don't know. She's been I think we've pretty much been out doing stuff, except for those 10 days that we spent since Callie got married. Callie has seen her wife for probably like, I think we could count it. I think the number of times that Callie's seen and got to spend time with her wife since they got married, I want to say is maybe 20 times. That might be being generous though.
Yeah.
It might be closer to 15.
The amount of nights that we've spent in Wolfrain has been few and far between.
Yeah. And Callie hasn't been doing good. Callie's been going through it.
Yeah.
Callie's been feeling lots of things.
Tell me a little bit about what's going on with Callie and Halora, because there's been that's definitely been coming up. Anything you feel comfortable talking about, because it's been so, it's of course like when I'm playing with you, I play with you as both Neppy and Emma, so I'm watching like my dear, sweet, wonderful friendo go through the ringer.
Yeah, I think
over Halora.
I think the thing about Halora was, I forget who was talking about it, but it was, and I forget who was talking it might have been Tim, but they were talking about Halora and about her inability to care for Limerick and in the way that she was supposed to, and just I don't know if you guys remember that bit.
I do.
Okay, that gutted Lennon. So Lennon had a whole moment over that. Like, there's a couple times.
I think that was Tim as Kindry.
Yeah.
Kindry was talking. Yeah, about it. Yeah.
So that gutted Lennon, and there's been a couple times on stream where I'm not part of a conversation and neither is my character, and it's not like a very it is emotional, but like not a super emotional moment, like where anytime Sean does anything between letters and clack, or like anytime he does a letter sling where I have to mute my mic and I'm sobbing and I can look around and M is also sobbing. Like it's not like one of those moments. It's like the conversation. It was the same level as the conversation of Kokanee talking about his dad in the Scar conversation between Letters and Kokanee, where I'm just like, oh, this is hitting a point for Lennon, and I'm sobbing, and I'm trying to like not sob because it's not my character who's sobbing. It's me, it's Lennon. And I think Callie's backstory, like Em and I have talked about it because I have a Google Doc of Callie's backstory, and I've sent it to Tim, and for chatwater, I think you were going through it once to get information. We like talked about Callie's backstory, and it lined up with what not only Kindry was saying, but kind of like how I was feeling. So in that moment, I was like, oh, this is how Callie's feeling. Callie's not going to show it because I was crying. I was like, no way, Callie's crying here, though. Like, Callie's going to compose herself. And, like, that's why she stayed behind and told Kendry, like, there's always a place for you. You don't have to stay here. Like, you're not required to stay here. I'll build something for you. Like, I know that you feel like you need to stay here, but I will do everything in my power to, like, make sure you feel comfortable leaving. And that's when, like, we got back with Halora, and Halora was just like talking and going through the items. Kelly was like, yeah, don't want to be here for this conversation. Like, so I think it was just like a lot of, I guess, internal stuff for Callie, but also Callie was mad at that point that all that stuff was happening. Like, that was a time where the matron had just called. And, like, Callie had called Kamea and was like, please get somewhere safe. Like, I can't be with you. Callie thought that she was gonna, Callie's brain there for a while was like, we're going to fail, and my wife and my child are going to be killed, and I'm never going to see them again. And I'm going to be here with these people who I love, but I don't love as much as I love my wife. And I'm never going to see my wife again. And I think there's a lot of things that we've talked about, like, I guess, off of screen, but the moment where Neppy was like, I wouldn't want to be here with anyone else. Yes. Yeah. Callie didn't say what she wanted to say there. Callie, like, stopped herself from being like, I fucking do. I don't want to be here with you guys. I would rather be with Kamea. Like, that's where Callie was. Usually she, like, is like, agrees because she's like, yes, there is nowhere else I'd rather be fighting this battle with you guys. But in that moment, and going through where we're going, like, through Halora's, like, home and going through this, Callie was like, I don't want to be here with you guys. I'm mad that I'm here. I'm mad that, like,
yeah. I appreciated you so much for taking such a, like, hard line with Callie and sticking to your guns too, because, like, I think it's so easy sometimes when you're part of a party. And I think that sorry, I'm just adjusting my feet here because sitting while 6 months pregnant is uncomfortable. I think that there's so much to, like, when you're in a D&D party, especially with people you've been playing with a long time, and you know that the story is moving and going, and not to mention that we also have this added thing of, like, we stream it on the internet. So there is, even if we don't acknowledge it, even, like, however much we try and inoculate ourselves to it, there's always a little bit of a pressure to be agreeable and to just go and to just do the flow and to do the thing. So when Callie stuck her foot down and you stuck your foot down for Callie, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, that's so needed. And I think that there's been moments throughout this entire campaign where characters have stuck their foot down and been like, no, I'm going to have to, like, stop and arrest the movement going forward, because this is an important crux of who my character is as a person, something I believe in for them. So I was so appreciative. And then when Callie got her piece to say that, like, she was ticked off and mad and frustrated, and before we went into the Matron of Vengeance fight in Seva Illyria, I was like, that needed to be said. Like, I think Callie had been kind of the one person who hadn't shared her piece as of that point. So I was really appreciative that you did so.
I think the part that comes up hard with that is, like, it's very much those moments where it's like, it's kind of similar to being and playing the book roulette, but it's the opposite. It was like, book roulette was like, oh, I want to do this thing, but I want to make sure that my friends are still having fun and they aren't thinking it's disruptive. But it ended up, like, being fine. Callie didn't forget, like, her wife or, like, her whole party. Like, it didn't. When Tim was sitting and saying, you forget, I was like, don't make it my wife. Don't make it my wife. But it was opposite of, like, when Callie left twice. She did it twice before the Save Illyria, going to Save Illyria and having that conversation. She left when we were in Halora's room getting cool items, which I thought were very cool, and I'm very excited, very thankful for the items Tim was giving. And that's where I wanted to be careful too, was because I was stoked on the items. I was like, this is so cool. Tim's such a cool DM. He's giving us such cool things, but Callie wants to leave. So trying to play that ground, and then also when we were with Adonis, like I'm like, this is very funny. My friends are doing very funny things. I love Adonis more than anything. Like me as a player is loving watching this. Callie is mad. Callie's wife is sitting up the street. She's like, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we riffing with Adonis? Why are we here? Like I went with you guys because we're going as a group, but like, so those 2 moments in leaving, I was like, Callie wants to leave, but I don't want to leave, and I also don't want to stop my friends from having fun because we haven't been able to have, I guess, like not fun moments because D&D is always fun, but like the goofy moments.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, I don't want to ruin these moments. Like I don't want to suck any fun out of them. But I'm like, my character wouldn't be able to sit here though, in how she's feeling.
And then I think that's the joy of the safety that we have at our table. That, you know, it's like you did that, and like you had Callie leave, and that was all fine, and it's always all fine because we, you know, we've got this like beautifully safe space at the table where we can share hard shit and our characters can go through tough stuff. And like for folks out there who don't know, before our stream, every night we do a grounding exercise where we kind of like together as a group, where we kind of just join and collectively, like we do some breathing together, we do some stretches and just kind of like allow ourselves space to get into the game. And I think that the safety that we've got at this table allows us to do the hard shit.
Yeah.
And to know that like we as friends will all be okay afterwards. And there can be bleed, and there has been bleed, so much bleed in the past over big specific moments, even stuff like, I know Matt was talking about bleed, I think this was last week, but it's still safe, and we can still rejoin, and we still have laughs, and then we do bookshelf roulette, because like Neppy was like, oh my god, we have to go, and Emma was like, this is fucking hilarious, do whatever you want to do, and I am here for this along the ride. So
yeah, I think the hardest part of D&D for me is wanting not I don't know how to phrase this. I guess the way my brain is, the hardest part of D&D for me is it's stopping myself from doing things because I'm scared that it would take fun or enjoyment away from other players. And being fearful of that, because I'm always so cautious. I'm like, before Callie does anything, I've gone over the list in my head of, is this going to make this person uncomfortable? Is this going to make the party feel like they've done, like I've put them in a situation that they don't want to be in? Like when Callie ran after the cub and was like, oh, there's giants over there, here we go. I felt like I struggled with that for a while. I was like, fuck, like I made us get into a fight. We're all low. Like,
jump on
this is my favorite thing. This is my favorite thing. We were just talking about this on Behind the Screen last week about making bad decisions, and that leads to good story. Because the example of a bear is a great example of something that was on paper a terrible decision. What is this bear going to do for us? But importantly, when you're talking about your character, because all our characters love your character and all our people love your character, when you act 100% in line, and this is not you specifically, Landon, but when we as a people act 100% in line with our character's traits, Callie loves animals and wants to help everybody.
Exactly.
And it's a god bear.
And follows that thing, even if it gets us all into hot water. Like, we may have had, goals or whatever as characters that are now up in the air, but we love it.
Absolutely.
Like in the same way that if like one of Neppy's, like, I don't know, like acolytes had like, I don't know, had like done something, and she's just like, I just need to take an hour to like discipline this teenager, we'd be like, Neppy, we have to go. But she's like, no, it's really important. They've got a prophecy. We'd be like, fine. And then we'd all help like go to detention. Like, that's great. That make like, but I 100% agree. It is a constant back and forth of like, how much time do I take up with like my thing versus allowing space for others. I I don't think there's like a hard and fast rule, but I just think if ever it's like, oh, my character just has to. There's certain things that we want for our characters, like running through the street festival and not engaging with it. That killed me, Sean Deppner. Sean Deppner wanted to play the games, eat something on a stick, but that just wasn't what that session was. It was like, no, we have to get the thing back for Kokanee. Yeah. But the books, that was like, well, this is a once in a lifetime. We've got the history with the books. We just gotta. Yeah.
And and this was the point of like, we were never sure if we were going to be able to access the study ever again. So it's just like, when you see the opportunity, you have to take it, regardless of the fact that Neppy is there saying, no, please, like, no, you're like stressing the shit out of your cleric. Just like, please.
And her DM.
And your DM. But it's just like, but of course, like, I think it's so wonderful to watch us all like play. And actually like play within play, right? Because that's what role play is, and you can't play without safety. So anytime that I know, like, I see us all, because that's my inner therapist and my inner like RPG theory therapist. But anytime I see us playing and having fun and riffing with each other after or in the middle of something so fucking serious for our characters, I'm like, this is good. This is very good. This is like very good and safe.
I think the thing I'm, as a player, struggling with Callie right now is every single time we go into Wolfreen, I leave. So every time we're in Wolfreen, I'm like, bye, guys. But if I think about it in Callie's eyes, I'm with you guys all the time.
You are.
Like, I miss out on group things. I know I trust you guys to handle it. Like, when I left to go find Kamea both times, I was like, I'm never here. My wife is here. Like, I don't think I could play Callie married to someone and be like, yeah, I'm in town, but
put it the opposite way. If our home base was Temple Philenis, Neppy wouldn't be there either.
Yeah.
Neppy would just be doing things around because that's her place, right? Or if our home base was in the Scar, like, letters would be off, like, having there would be other like side.
Yeah, if we were in Dresda, letters might have to get a little dirty.
Yeah,
but
for
I
sure.
put Tad in charge. Tad's got
exactly. But we just happen, like, Callie happens to be married to literally the most important person in Wolfreen. Like,
it's so annoying. It's so annoying. The council meetings kill me, guys. All I was trying to do was to bring back. Hey Tim, can I do my wife? All I wanted to bring back was that hand raising. That's all I was trying to do. And then it was like the sun speaker just died. I was like,
I love that you left her as sex, an
aphrodisiac.
I left her as sex. Yeah, like, what am I gonna do? I can't call her. I'm always with Blackwater. I can't call her. Callie can't call command. Just be like, hey, you up? Like, yeah, she left her a note on her pillow, which I don't think Kamea's seen yet. So.
And I love that. Kamea will see it, and we will likely hear about it later. Maybe Kamea, for once, will call you rather than you calling her.
God, we can only hope. Has Kamea ever called me?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I don't think you've ever gone about more than maybe 9 hours without calling her. This is the true. Thing.
Yeah. Has Kamea never called me?
I don't remember Kamea. I mean, it's maybe like a handful of times.
I don't think it's
under 5.
I don't think it's
happened.
Not.
It hasn't happened on stream. It's never happened on stream.
I think it's the same mentality though of when Jar had the Sending Stone, and we were like, "You can't call us because we might be in danger."
Right.
Like, you can't make noise through our Sending Stone.
Right.
Because you don't know where we might be. Like, if we'd been walking through, like, trying to sneak Rue somewhere, and the commander was like, Carl? Like,
I love you.
Just responding to your sext, like, in the middle while we're sneaking through somewhere.
Yeah, sext. It's a note on a pillow. We don't have phones. But
you just in canon invented sexting. That's what that is. Like,
Ellie would be the one to do that, though.
Hell yeah. 100%.
There is a moment
Go ahead, Sean.
that I do want to touch on that I'm having a hard time defining, and that is the supportive yet chaotic energy that Matt / Kokanee brought to the book sequence, where he's like, I'm not going to read books, but resistance on you. It really felt like the dad who's like, oh, you're going out drinking? Well, I can't support you, but I'll give you a ride and leave out water for when you come home wasted.
Yeah.
He just really wants to vicariously live through his kids. I can't.
Totally it.
Because I think that was a really good example of, because I know I've learned that Matt is so different from Kokanee in so many ways, and Matt, especially in D&D, lives for the chaos as exemplified from all his one-shot characters. And so Matt was open. I feel like Matt could have just watched us open books all session and just watch us literally lose our minds, but he was like, no, I gotta get mommy's pearls back.
I think the thing there too with the opening books, who would out of the party be the two people to keep opening books and being like, oh, you open one? Yeah, sure. Of course it's Letters and Callie.
Mm-hmm.
Of course that's the two. You could have told.
God help us if we had Finnan.
God help us. One of us would have died in that room. I think
your poor clerics. Your poor clerics would have just been there, just being like, I don't know what to do. I can't help. I can't do this.
Well, if I hadn't played, if I somehow hadn't seen myself play, if there was two of me and you would split me and I'd played and then I hadn't seen the episode and you had told me about book roulette and we're like, who were the two characters playing book roulette? I think I would get it first try.
100%.
I think we all would get it first try. I don't
think there would have been any second guess on who played book roulette. Of course it was. Also, speaking of those two characters,
yes,
Letters and Callie still needs to talk. I know this is actionable at the table. Callie's going to talk to Letters at some point, because the fact when you started being like, I'm going to really think about what Callie told me. If you watch that back on our pod, you see me, because my mute is here. Mm-hmm. Every time I mute, you see me scramble for this. I think I sobbed. I think I went, at some point in those moments, I was actually sobbing, racking sobs just in my living room.
And then follow up with me sobbing when he sees the cat padding away. That's when I started sobbing.
I was sobbing there too. I was just I think any moment where I am sobbing, I find comfort in being able to look at M and see that her mic is also up and she is also sobbing. I'm like, good.
Good. Yeah.
To that effect, and also relevant to what we talked about earlier in terms of how much time do you take in a session, Letters still has to debrief with a few people about, the big battle. But first of that list was Clack. And I was just like, we're not going to have two debrief scenes in the same episode. Those conversations will keep. But especially with Clack, I didn't want to be like, all right, Neppy, come here. I got to, hey, that would have just been in terms of the amount of decompression that needs to happen in what happened in the fucking vengeance fight, that would be the entire before break sequence for Letters. And that's just not what I'm going to do.
I've thought about that whole fight from last episode or 2 episodes ago, that whole moment. And the moment where Tim was Clack and he was like, you hear the sound from behind you. I have painted that in where I imagined our characters. Usually I think I would ask Tim, did Callie see that? But I don't think she was standing beside the matron.
Yeah.
I thought the hand was going to go around me. I was standing beside the matron. In that moment, it's just almost slow motion. Everyone's heads whip around and turn around and look at Clack. And then Callie is after Letters. So her next move was going to be, holy shit, I'm getting myself over there to Clack. And her training her eyes on Clack, because that's her next move. And seeing Letters collapse onto him and then seeing... she saw that.
mm-hmm.
that's going to be a, hey, I saw this.
So did Neppy.
Hello?
Callie was facing the tree where the matron was, and Shadow Neppy had turned her back towards the rift, facing Callie. So Neppy saw the hand go out and watched it happen.
Can I tell you about one moment there too? A Callie decision that
of course.
The Callie decision that went through my head. I'm out of water. Fuck.
Well, we're gonna roll the intro soon, so you can go grab some water in a minute.
A Callie decision that went through my head was I knew Callie and I both knew Neppy was shadows, but knew that and Neppy shadows like could take damage.
Yeah.
I was like, if Neppy's shadow starts taking damage, and we were still standing here, I was like, Callie's gonna walk into the rift, so Neppy like deals with something else. I was like, she would have left her, like, because she knew that Neppy wouldn't leave, like that step between. Callie and Neppy have done that step between many a times
100%.
and been like, yeah, I'm not leaving until you're okay. In that moment, Callie was like, oh, if it gets to a point where Neppy's not okay, I'm leaving. Like that was her immediate decision, because I was low on health. I was like, I'm getting pulled into this rift. And I was like, if Neppy doesn't leave me, I'm leaving.
The thing was, I couldn't have gone any farther.
I know.
I was at the edge of my my tether.
I know, and that's something Callie also knew. So she was like, if Neppy doesn't leave this spot, and she starts getting like just like attacked. And I knew she wouldn't stop from like trying to keep Callie up. Callie was like, okay, I gotta go.
Fuck. The two of them just won't do it. They just won't leave anybody in a perilous position. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So we have reached our timer-ish, but we're well past our timer for talking about the previous episode. But this is our show. We can do what we want.
Time is a construct. It doesn't mean anything
Time
anyway.
Isn't real.
Burn your clocks. Burn your clocks.
As Tim
My
has
clock's
shown
not
us,
even set right.
As Tim has shown us, time is wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. I'm gonna roll that intro.
Time paradoxes,
and we're
I've
back.
never participated in them before. I was just saying, Sean Deppner hates time paradoxes. I think time travel, anything where it's like, oh, it's the fucking fourth film in a series, and now we're doing time travel. I'm like, I'm fucking out. Star Trek, get fucked. I'm not interested. And like, I hate time paradoxes. And to actively participate in one, like, got my goat in a way that I've never experienced before.
I was
like mad
moment.
at myself. I was mad at the universe.
Like Tim
I was very proud of Tim.
Tim is always in quite fine form, but he was in particularly fine form in the study that last time. Okay, I'm gonna do some announcements. Sean, are you ready for your art along?
Oh, born that way.
Okay,
I'm dripping with ideas.
Okay, a big thank you to our sponsors, Legendcraft, a nerdy woodworking company from Calgary, and Silverwing Armory, selling paper products for all your RPG needs. Check them out, and if something tickles your fancy, enter the code Blackwater at checkout for a discount. Love, as always, to our dice goddess, Keisha. Check her out at fairydragon_dice. Her commissions will be open soon, so DM her for all your clickety-clackety needs. Our campaign artist is the incomparable Tiana Kovacevic, and you can find her at miss._Marston on Instagram. All of the official art for this campaign is done by her and beyond, because she's the best, and you should also get art done by her too. Her commissions are open. She takes very limited spots every month, so get in there before they close again. Our Discord is like a beautiful, lovely, amazing place. It's very wholesome. We wish each other good morning. We post pictures of our animals. It's a delightful time. So please come hang out in the Discord. While we're streaming, hang out here in Twitch chat, because that's where all the cool kids are, but then hop on over to our Discord, because usually someone's around after that. A big thank you to all of you folks who subscribe to us. Don't forget to re-up your subscriptions, as they don't roll over every month. We also have a coffee, so if you wanted to donate above and beyond your subscription, thank you. That's pretty delightful. Type !donate in the chat, and it will tell you how to do that. Also, we're just like really thankful to have you here. What was it, the chatties or the chatcolites, I believe they were calling themselves last time.
Chatcolites.
The chatcolites. who
That's
hang
so
out,
cute.
right? Who hang out with us here on chatWater and listen to us dish that good lore and are here for the debriefs. We love this. This is the reason we keep doing it. And yeah, it means a lot to, like, I know when Sean and Yanis and I were originally started talking about this project, we wanted a space where we could share the history of our campaign with you, and then it's just morphed into this very wonderful thing where we will get there eventually. We're almost there. We're 2 arcs away from getting there, and then we'll have got there. And then what are we going to do?
It's a journey, not the destination kind of show.
Absolutely. You're already at the destination, but now you get to appreciate the journey ahead of time. So speaking of which, Lore Club. Lore Club, you love lore. We love lore. That's why we're doing this. Do you want to get involved in chronicling our history from the beginning? Yes, you do, because you love it, you sweet chat Colette, you. Our amazing mod, the New Experience Network, has set up a community lore project. Type !lore in the chat, and it'll take you to a Google form where you can sign up. There are spreadsheets, there are cookbooks, there are a whole bunch of other things. There's a K to D ratio chart where people are going through and like marking how many deaths people have had versus how many kills. It's impressive. I know that Fernando and the New Experience Network have been spearheading that, so big kisses, chatwater kisses to all of you. And thank you for those of you who are participating. Programming this week, Wednesday is the Gravelies. Oh my gosh, it is Wednesday, March 17th is our 1 year stream anniversary. So today, actually, March 15th, is the anniversary of our very first online game ever. So session 0, which is available on YouTube if you haven't listened to it yet, called A Sister Sacrifice, was played, I think, on March 15th, 2020. And then it held the seeds for when we decided to stream the first time. And oh my God, I'm so excited for the art along. So Wednesday is our actual 1 year anniversary of when we first put our show online, and we have come a long way. We're a little bit older, a little bit more pandemic weary, and here on the internet, and still streaming this amazing game for you. We had someone ask in the Discord if, like, I said, they were like, oh, can we put this in the category for the Gravelies? And I was like, oh, it's kind of too late for this year, but we'll have one next year. That means they were like, you mean you're going to be around next year? And I was like, obviously we're going to be around. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're stuck with us now. Y'all are stuck with us. So I think the thing is up in the chat right now. Head on over to the Google form that's there. It is a 20 question multiple choice of the favorite moments of the year. If you know us in any of our streams, go ahead and vote any of the questions you want. You don't have to vote on all of them, or vote on all of them even if you don't know. Whatever sounds like a good one to you. Votes will be closing noon Pacific Standard Time on March 17th, which is 2 days from now. And then we will be having the Gravelies that evening, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please come hang out with us. We'll all be there. It'll be a delight. We might dress up. There may be beverages. And we're all going to be presenting awards to each other because this game is made up and the points do matter. Finally, one of our last announcements is we have just started releasing some of the promo material for our Wagadu stream. The Chronicles of Wagadu will be happening next Wednesday, March 24th. Holy bananas. I am so excited to play with this wonderfully amazing bonkers cast of TJ Storm, B. Dave Walters, Brianna DeCoster, Alicia Marie, and Alan Cudisio, the creator of the Wagadu Chronicles, is going to be guest DMing at our table. Wow, it's
Who we met through chatWater.
Yes, we met him on chatWater in October of last year. So it's going to be really cool. We've got some really, really cool stuff planned for that evening. So please come hang out with us Wednesday. Bring your everyone. Everyone should see the beautiful Afrocentric world that Alan has created. Wagadu is something so special. And yeah, bring your dads, bring your jorts, and get ready for adventure. So please come hang out with us. And other than that, Sean, what did you draw for us today?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what I drew.
Okay.
With the best intentions in mind. I wanted to create the moment where Callie's reading the book and forgets everybody's names. However,
oh no,
Callie, I don't know what happened, but she did accidentally become kind of a like a Tim Burton monstrosity, and every step I took to fix it kind of made her worse. So
I'm so ready. My body is so ready.
This is her. That's her little scar. That's the book. She's got her shoulder pads. She's confused. She's not happy about it. Those little. I did the book first, then the eyes, and then I didn't have room for a face.
You happy birthday, Callie.
Every time we do the art along, I have the John Mulaney happy birthday problem. But this is the thing. If you want to do art along with me and make deeply troubling, regretful art and share it with the world, because it's freeing. Like,
it'll be a category next year at the Gravelies. Which of Sean's art is the best from the art along?
I love it. 1, 2. That drawing. Hold it up again.
Okay, one second. I got it. It's coming up.
That just means there's an alternate universe for Helena Bonham Carter plays Callie.
Look, when we get the film rights, when we finally, we'll talk to Netflix when we get the adaptation.
If it's not a Tim Burton movie, when we get the adaptation, it has to be Brie Larson to play Callie.
100%.
We'll make it happen. I'll call some people.
If it's Tim Burton, though, Helena.
We can just ape his style. Like, we'll just put all his films through a wood chipper, and just whatever's left on the wall,
we'll put them through an AI machine and see what comes out the other side.
Yeah.
We're gonna make an AI machine watch every episode of Blackwater and every Tim Burton film and get to write a script.
Yes, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
God,
we've said it, and now it exists. Maybe The Shadowfell is a Tim Burton movie. Maybe that's what it's like.
Gosh, I hope that's not the case.
If Brie's watching. Hi, Brie. Play my D&D character in a film adaptation.
Oh my God, I'd have to figure out who would play Neppy. Oh, anyway, that's a story for a different time.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Who played the mom in fucking Love Actually? Alan Rickman was the husband. She played Trelawney in Harry Potter. She's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Wait.
Hold on. Let me see. Her name is on the tip of my tongue now.
It's some...
Fuck.
Emma Thompson. 100%. 100%.
Wait, you said Trelawney?
Yeah, she played Trelawney.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
No, not Dolores. Not Dolores Umbridge.
No. Emma Thompson would make a perfect, like a little bit older Neppy. Like, just... perfect.
Yeah. Okay, let me roll through this real quick. Ryan Gosling is Kokanee Buckwild.
100%.
Like 100%.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, I was so not prepared for this. I all I want is Paul Giamatti for letters. I know he's not right for it. But as long as he's gonna be CG anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I'm gonna think about it. I have some ideas for
I've gone through
Spooky.
this all before. I've cast us before. Somewhere.
We did it in our group chat. We haven't actually done it on stream. Maybe, you know what? Save it for the Gravelies. Let's talk about this at the Gravelies.
Yeah. We're here for lore, all right?
We're here for lore.
We've fiddled about, and now it's time to... You saved some petch last time. You're in the elemental plane of Earth for the first time.
We did, and then we went to Wolfreen, and then we did the Battle of Gatestone Keep. Torrin died. Neppy and Kokanee said, I love you. Kamea and Callie also, I think, said, I love you, and kissed a bunch.
Ooh, a bunch. I didn't know it was a bunch. On the mouth, probably. No. But maybe elsewhere.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. When was this?
This is what happened. So in session 24, we saw the party, and session 23 and 24, we saw the party go through the Battle of Gatestone Keep. Torrin died. He was buried. Neppy and Kokanee shared their feelings with each other. We ended up living at Kamea's house, and that's where we're living right now. Last episode, we realized that the bag of golding was a bad bag, and we've lost all of our money. At this point, the origins of the money hole started there, and that's where we left it for a really long time. And then we meet Finn and Aganis. Callie and Neppy meet him. They bring him back. They bring him back to Blackwater Keep for dinner. He and Kokanee fight in the street, and then Kokanee and Neppy get into an argument about it, but then they're okay afterwards. And then at the end of that day, we rest, and still no more settled because our friend died. the day before. So that brings us to session 25, which is the beginning of the Earth Elemental Plane arc, called A Charming Introduction, which was on May 12th, 2019. We're going to try and cover 4 episodes of lore today, maybe 5. We'll see.
Do our best.
I'll do it.
We'll try.
Len, did you want to start, or do you want me to start?
With this, I'm trying to think of this in my head where we were.
Why don't I start
struggling.
and then you jump in? Okay. So the party returns to Tova, the enchanter, who we all know and love now, the next day. And she tells us that the process of turning gold into pyrite regarding the bad bag of golding is likely an alchemical or magical process, and the bag is not likely a pocket plane, which is what normal bags of holding or golding are, but a portal somewhere. She says, I've got 4 of these things in the back. They're all the same. I don't know what the fuck is happening with it, but it's bad. So we meet back up with Finnan, and he and Kokanee start making amends. It's going to be a long process for these two lads to make some amends, but I think that they're underway to doing that. We then go to a council meeting with Kamea. One of the many council meetings that we're at. You're back.
I know where we are.
So they need to start discussing the new positions that need to be filled. The Archmage, the General of the Army, and then, of course, the Monarch, or the ruling position. And we nominate Nissa as the Archmage to help form an alliance with Shinkick and repair relations. And then after that, they're like, yeah, we'll take your thoughts into consideration. Please get out. And we leave. Kokanee then gives Neppy a ring, a platinum ring. And he's like, oh, it's for warding bond. And she's like, oh, yes, of course, warding bond. Wonderful. And we talk about getting others commissioned because they had gone on the platinum hunt the day before. Jar and Nissa finally arrive back in Wolfreen. We take them for a walk through the city. Kokanee speaks with Nissa about Arathis and the Dawn War, and we convince Nissa to stay. We're like, hey, this city's not so bad. Bring your people here. There's nothing left in Shinkick. Kokanee's here. He's going to start a new temple of Arathis. It's going to be a good place to be. So we convince her to stay, and we talk about a potential nomination for Archmage and be like, please take it. If they not give it to you, please take it. We then take Finnan, Nissa, and Jar to see Torrhen's grave. And Neppy and Callie sit down with Jar and talk to her about it. I know. And that sweet little baby girl already knew. She was like, he's not here, and none of you have talked about him since I got back. And we were like, yeah, okay, you know. So we give her the necklace that Torrhen gave to Neppy as he died. Kokanee, in this moment, Finnan is like, had obviously been quite taken with Torrhen. And we had been like, well, this is his gravesite. He's dead here. So this is why we're all a little messed up. And Kokanee's like, as an olive branch, offers to pray with Finnan. And, Finnan is like, okay, this is like someone I really respect offering me this. So he sits down to pray with Kokanee. And through the middle of that, his patron, Dave, who we now know, or is his will, or Cadmiel, as we have now just recently seen, gets pretty pissed off about the fact that he was sitting with someone who was praying for Arathis and blinds him temporarily. And Finnan doesn't say anything about it. And we notice that he's kind of like stumbling down the hill, and we're like, are you okay? Are you all right? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. We're like, and then he's like, I'm just having trouble with my vision. I don't know what it is. And then Neppy's like, well, not all the gods get along. Perhaps whoever granted you your powers doesn't take too kindly to Arathis.
Man, did we know?
Little did we know. So the next day, we attend yet another council meeting at Kamea's request. Hector Turnbuckle, who we had known from before, is named High Counselor. Nissa takes the appointment of Archmage and discusses repairing teleportation circles which Zacchus had destroyed. They discuss the repair process through the town, Croden's Cross, and the hooks down near the docks. They talk about seeking aid from Southwatch, and at this point, a delegation from Barmwich arrives. the glitter guard.
Oh, fuck.
Yes. So into the chamber walks Fildo Thorngage, the governor of Barmwich. He is announced. We didn't know he was coming, accompanied by like 6 glitter guard. Spooky immediately hides behind, I think, Callie and casts disguise self to change her appearance. Fildo enters and he's a smarmy fucking asshole. He's just an asshole to everybody. He talks over smoothing relationships between Wolfrine and Barmwich. He's so rude to Nissa, who's a gnome, and he's a halfling, because Nissa's from Shinkick. And the history goes that Shinkick was formed by a bunch of gnomes who felt like they were kind of second-class citizens in Barmwich hundreds of years before, so they left. So Fildo obviously knows this, that she's from Shinkick, and just treats her like garbage. And we're all sitting there watching this being like, how are people letting him be such an asshole? He then starts discussing his wife Cora being placed on the council, Cora Thorngage, who we all know and hate. And then he charms the table.
Yeah, baby.
He like uses like mass suggestion or something on the whole table. And Neppy is the only one who doesn't get charmed.
Did Kelly get charmed?
Yes.
I don't think I can be charmed.
Not anymore, but back in the day.
Back in the day, I think you got charmed.
Anytime you get brain controlled, it's a charm.
Yeah.
Dang.
So she started calling out and be like, no, you just used magic on the whole table. And then Neppy was quite rude about it. And then she got asked to leave.
Right.
She got asked to leave the room. And she's like, mark my words, you watch out for him. And then through that charming of the table, Cora got granted a seat on the council.
Yep.
So he's a yucky. He's a big yuck. Spooky then tells us the reason about why she left Barmwich was it Fildo? It was Fildo and the Thorngages. She said they ruined her life, and she didn't do any of the things she was accused of, treason, anything like that. She doesn't know if we can say more at the moment, but we give her all the support. And she knows that Fildo is up to something, and we've got to keep our eyes on him. And that was the end of session 25. Lots of roleplay. Heavy roleplay, heavy session. Len, did you want to do...
I think that was the session where I rolled one of my worst low rolls ever.
Oh, which one?
It was when we were trying to get Kamea to
oh yeah.
And they were dating. They weren't engaged or anything yet, but we were dating, and we were trying to get Kamea to like be queen.
Throw in her hat for a queen nomination.
Throw in her hat, queen. And I tried to put my hand on her shoulder nicely and smoothly.
Yep.
And I wasn't smooth in any way of the way at all. I just kind of biffed it.
Yeah. We tried to.
What did you shove her? Like
no, it was just kind of like it was like a 3. It was like I rolled like a 3. Yeah.
Early dating.
Yeah, it wasn't
trying to convince your girlfriend to be queen. Date 2. Like
hey, at least date 3 or 4.
I'm really curious what it was like around the table when Fildo charmed everyone, and Neppy, you're like, fuck you. And everyone had to, like, everyone playing with you, Emma, just had to be like, Neppy, come on, it's Fildo. We love this guy. Yeah. Like, how did that actually play out?
I think a lot of people were just silent at that point, and didn't say anything because we didn't get a vote. We didn't get a vote with the council or anything like that. They just didn't protest. I think is how mostly that played out. And there was like, Neppy was the only one who was like allowed to roll an insight check to see that something was off.
Right.
Because she was the only one who wasn't charmed.
So crazy.
High wisdom save. Yeah, it was frustrating. It was like, because Neppy's also like, Neppy at that point was a lot more hardline about a lot of things. And she was just like, I'm high priestess, you will listen to me kind of person at that point.
That Neppy.
That Neppy has come in useful a couple times. There's a couple times coming up where that has come in useful. Coming up in the next couple sessions, you'll see why. But yeah, so she's not so much like that anymore, but back then she was quite hardline. So it was frustrating to be like, I know that he's bad and nobody believes me.
Yeah.
It was frustrating. But
so hard.
So hard. Len, why don't you take it from here? Session 26, The Earth Beneath Our Feet, May 13th, 2019. Go ahead.
I'm just going through?
Yeah, just go through.
Okay. Oh man. This was like after the dinner at Kamaya's house, right?
Yeah.
This is where? Okay.
Yeah.
So oh man. So after the dinners at Kamaya's house, which was like we all went to Cronin's Crossing. And this is one of our many like bar times, I guess.
Yes, when Blackwater used to go to a lot of bars.
When we used to go to a lot of bars, Callie played a lot more drinking games. Finnan like started a bar fight.
Yes.
This is where we met Tad. Yeah.
This is where we met Tad the bartender.
Spooky.
I didn't know he was okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spooky spoke with someone named Pelpham, right?
Yeah.
Who called her Yana, right? Yeah. And they talked discussing that her mom was a servant in the Bright Keep, and he doesn't know where her father was. He tells her that people had been disappearing and accused of deeds that they didn't do.
So this is where we start seeing that percolating stuff with the Barmwich Arc start to happen.
Yeah. This is after we got home and Yana told her, Spooky told us her name was Yana Wildcloak, and she was a wanted fugitive, which we hadn't known up to this point. I think she even like pulled out her wanted poster, and that she was accused of treason because she had found Fildo rigging the election and undermining the process and the proud tradition of Barnwich. And they put a bounty on her, and she'd been gone for like 5 years. And that was who had just walked into our
council,
like, and charmed, like, so he's still with a bounty on her.
Yeah. It was pretty wild.
My cat is eating my hand.
Mishtifer, sweet baby.
Michelle, please let go of me. Mish. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go
ahead. And this is where Neppy offered to scry on her parents, and she found them both. Olin was curled up in the corner. It was in like a pile of crumpled rags. He looked pale and just like not good.
This is Spooky's dad. He's like in a prison somewhere, the meat prison, which we now know.
He was in the meat prison for a while then.
Yes.
Long time, yeah. Finds her mother in what we thought was the Bright Keep, and she was like polishing stuff. She was.
And the big thing about it was that like she had this like absent look on her place. She was just like absently polishing plates, like as if there was like.
God, so much happened in this episode. How are we okay?
How are we okay through this?
How did we? Because Neppy did that, scried on Yana's parents, and then that night, Callie was in bed with Kamea, sleeping. They were both sleeping. Callie had a nightmare that she was at the edge of this like vast forest, moving from vibrant to like gnarled and rotten, and then turning into a decaying like swamp. And saw like a monolithic rock and a gnarled path of fire and lava, and she felt a stabbing in her chest, and she woke up from this nightmare. She didn't know what her dream was, but she felt like it was the Feywild. She'd known she had been there, but doesn't remember being there. And then Kamea and her talked about Kamea's home in the Alderwood. Where her people protect the Alderdown Forest, which has the portal to the Feywild.
So, like in this episode, Tim has already dropped 2 crumbs of 2 arcs, like Barmwich Arc, Feywild Arc, and then the next arc, which we decide to go on the next morning. Keep going, Len. You're doing wonderful. This is great.
So he just keeps dropping like, which thread do you want to pull on? Filthy Tim.
I mean, really, are we surprised considering what he did?
No, it's great. It's disgusting.
It's insufferable. I love it.
The setting is so rich.
The next morning we woke up, we decided we were going to go save Kern and Mira.
in the Earth elemental plane.
In the Earth mental plane, when both Callie and Spooky are just like, oh God, okay, I guess so. Krieger agreed to help us and help find his friend Gorge, who was in the mine we escaped from. We got some insight from Krieger on our journey. God, this is all
one episode.
But learning about some folks who to look out for. We learned about the Scar, the Giants, the Dow, the Fighting Pits, the Mining, the Goliaths, the Earth Genasi, and the Petch. We learned about the Slave Market and Bubba and Malik and the Sand Giant who owned Krieger. We learned about Aleem, a giant who trades in the bazaar. And we learn of the Seer, a different kind of giant infused with magic. Sand Spider, Zorn. He talks about Grumbar, the prophecy that Grumbar hasn't been seen in hundreds of years. So this is just like
him so just like stirring the pot of so many things.
Stirring
the
chili.
Stirring the chili. Yes. The lore chili, if you will.
God, this is we went to the Earth Elemental Plane.
Yeah, using the shard of Grumbar that we had taken from Kiva.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Decided to disguise ourselves. Kokanee takes the form of the Goliath. Spooky's a direwolf. Neppy was like a pretty, just like
she's like, I can't really be disguised, so I guess I'm your consort or courtesan or something. I was like, you have to be a rich, like, I think it was decided, or Krieger was like, yeah, you'd need to be rich to be a Goliath and be here. So these people would be your entourage. And
Callie and Finnan were the muscle.
Yeah. And they were like, well, we can't really disguise Neppy because if anyone touches her head, they're going to feel the horns.
Yeah.
So I love this.
So they were like, you're exotic. You're going to be the pretty courtesan who's with him. And I was like, gross, but okay.
We sent to Kern and heard that he'd been injured and was in Zamorod's mansion and heading to the fighting pits again. And then we decided to hide out in an abandoned mine shaft to re-up our disguises. Oh God, right? And as this is happening, we heard the stones like skittering in the ground.
Full of spiders. It's got to be full of spiders. No?
And something emerges that has too many legs, a long body, and wings. And that's where that episode ended.
Yeah. It just crawled out of the wall with too many. And Tim was like, it has too many legs, a long body, and wings. And that's where we're ending it tonight. And we're like, what?
Please, no.
Yeah. So then 2 days later, do you mind if I take this one, Len?
Yeah.
2 days later, we play on my birthday, May 15th, 2019, for the second of the Adonis birthday one-shots. So it was a hard shift because we're in the Earth Elemental Plane, and there was a bunch of people who had this had occurred on the night before we had left for the Earth Elemental Plane. So this is called Angel of the Astral Sea, May 15th, 2019. So Neppy in her dreams gets a call from Adonis that he'd been playing a game of cards. Something had gotten freaky and he needed her help.
Okay.
So he says he's trapped inside a creature with a purple and green tongue, and he's going to transport us somewhere, and we need to ask for Priestess Galatea. And Neppy's like, what do you mean? You're gonna transport us somewhere. He's like, use your ring, Neppy. I know I gave it to you. You still have it. And he's gonna send some friends to help. So this was just people who could make it to my birthday party. So it was myself, Kokanee, Callie. So from Blackwater, and then there was Nyx, a gnomish ranger, and her bear Alfred, Valanthe, a wood elf druid from the campaign set in Ishion, my two friends from there, Whiplash brother Adam DeMarco's high elf bard character Whip was there, Zome Menarnar, who's a tiefling druid from the original Alpha campaign that we played, and PJ, played by Jen, who is a changeling rogue. PJ. Oh, we love that sweet boy.
I remember this one shot.
Right?
So not one shot, but I remember this.
Yeah. So we're transported to the Astral Sea, to the Waypoint. We are on the steps of the temple, and we meet Priestess Galatea, and she's like, "Oh, Adonis sent you. Okay. All right. What do you need?" And she gives us 100,000 star pieces, which is, I think, their form of money.
Cool.
So she gives us like 100,000 star pieces. She's like, well, go spend it on what you need. Adonis left this here just in case. So take it. It's just sitting here. We were like, okay. So we take all this money down, and she gives us directions to the various shops in the district. And she's like, I'm not really sure where Adonis got himself trapped. Best of luck. Head down to the skiff yard. You might be able to. If he's out somewhere, you're going to need to go.
Oh my God.
That's where Duke Corbano lives.
We're getting there.
That guy's got my hook.
So we go to leave. Princess Galatea sees Nefi's ring, and she has it hold it over like a beam of light that comes down the center of the temple. And it changes on her hand, pulsing with the light, and the gem grows. And Nepi now has access to more souls across the multiverse that she's bonded to, simply because I had more characters that I had played through one-shots throughout the year. So Tim was like, yeah, you get 3 more, or 2 or 3 more characters added to your. I was like, sick. This is great. So we go through a myriad of shops and stores and outfit ourselves. Some notable shops include the Ware's House, which was a magic item shop, Bribbins, barbiturates, and other things you can imbibe. A potions shop. Right. Rune Town. Oh, I want to go to Rune Town so bad because you can get runes etched into things that give you powers. Like Nepi was like, I was trying to convince the party to let me spend like 60,000 star pieces on to get something etched into the gold pieces that I wear on my horns. I was like, please. And they were like, oh, we've all got things that we want to buy. I was like, that's okay. It's cool. That's all right. We then
But it's my birthday.
I didn't pull the "It's my birthday" card. I was like, everyone is here.
My birthday.
But it's my birthday. And I was like, no. I just want all my friends to have all the cool things. So someone bought a robe of stars. Someone bought a dreadnought arrow. There was like a whole bunch of shit that we bought. There was another store called Fine and Exotic Clothing by Stitcher, which is a magical clothing shop. La Arca Magica, a magical creature shop that had a nilbog in it. And Smash Cut and Block, which was a magical armor and weapons shop.
That's where the pretty lady works.
Yes, there was a very pretty lady that worked in Smash Cut and Block, and she flirted with Callie hard.
Tim Carlson.
And that's where Kelly's I have a girlfriend started. But I think that was the first. I have a girlfriend.
Yeah, that was happened. The first big, tall, pretty lady that flirted with Callie.
Not the last, though.
Definitely not the last. So we get kitted out pretty well. We then head down to the skiff yard, and we meet Duke Corbano. And he's a delight. We tell him about our troubles, and he says that, he and Adonis are old friends. And here you can, rent these skiffs from me, and here's some hooks so that you can get around in the astral sea. And you're probably going to go out there. There's a dreadnought out there. Just be careful. We saw one a little while ago, and we're like, fuck, you're going to make us fight a dreadnought, Tim.
Definitely.
Yep.
What are one-shots for?
What are one-shots for? So we sail out of the waypoint, and we sail for a time before we come across said astral dreadnought. We fight with it, as well as a Gith pirate who comes along and saw us in peril and then started trying to pick us off to take our stuff. Yep. So Kokanee and Callie both got swallowed by the dreadnought, and they transported to the donjon inside the dreadnought, and they find Adonis there, just chilling, just hanging out and being like, oh, Kokanee and Callie, it's so nice to see you here. I gotta get out of here. Once the dreadnought is defeated, Adonis is like, they climb out of the dreadnought, the dead dreadnought that is just now floating in the astral sea. And we sail back to the waypoint, and Adonis is like, oh, thank you so much for your help. I gotta get back to my card game. And then he fucking sends us home with no memory of anything. None of us
wiping the memory.
Wipe our memories. Nobody remembered anything.
Yeah, we need to make a save.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot that episode a little bit because it was like a couple of years ago. Callie got eaten by something again.
Yes, I think that was one of the beginnings of where Callie got, one of the first things that Callie got eaten by. It
needs to stop.
Someone else is going to have to take the lead on that.
Her brain, the worm,
we took care of the brain. We got to get you armor that is
anti-eating
spicy.
armor.
Well,
we got to get you really spicy armor.
I lost the ability. Sorry, I just read.
Callie is a snack.
Callie is a snack. Right. Right. But she's married, so she's married. But yeah, I don't have my abilities to bop out of things anymore. I can protect my friends, but I have to stay in the space that I'm in.
You also have really kick-ass armor now.
Yeah, we need to get that fixed though, because it's dented.
A mending spell would probably fix that.
Would it? Yeah, because it got crushed under the mercury.
Put Kogan's Lightkeeper on it.
He can dual cast it. He's good to go. He's fine.
It's the cantrip's OP. Like
the cantrip that keeps on cantripping, you know?
Yeah. Triple cast it even.
Yeah, well, Neppy can cast it now. Neppy has taken it as well.
Quadruple cast it, baby.
Okay, Len, you go. Session 27, The Fighting Pits of the Scar, May 19th, 2019.
Oh, I've heard about this one. This was great.
Yep.
So this was a real.
This one's real exciting. Go on then.
This is a real good one. So this is So where we left off was the too many legs, wings, big, dark cave. It was a young cave dragon. And it ended up fleeing before we were able to kill it. It used its darkness ability, but Finnan was still able to hit the thing for some reason.
He was like, yeah, I could see it, even though it popped up darkness, magical darkness. Yeah. And we're like, that's great, pal. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. Because this is also Finnan's first adventure that he'd been with us on. We were just like, hey, we have to go to this place. He's like, I'll go. Yeah, Kern and Mira are innocent, because Finnan's whole thing at that point was like, I have to save the innocent people. I have to save the innocents. I have to protect the innocents and save the innocents. And we're all just like, we don't need your protection. We don't. But like, if you really want to come with, like, we'd offered him an out too. We were just like, if you really want to come with us, you don't have to. We're going to maybe go to this really weird place we've never been to before. Some bad shit might happen. He's like, I'm coming with you. I'm coming with you, and I'm going to save the innocent people. And we're like,
often.
Okay, here we go.
It fled. I don't think it came back. Like, no. We tried to. We changed up our disguises. Neppy and Yana were direwolves.
Yeah.
The rest was the same.
Because Neppy was not down with being the courtesan anymore. Because some people had been like, "Oh, this is exotic." Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, no, thank you."
Yeah.
I respect sex work, but no, thank you.
Yeah. We went through the city seeing some of Aline's pet and a harnessed 6-legged beast pulling a cart of gems. As we turned the corner, there was Liam, who was an olive-skinned desert giant who was stooped, and he was like wearing this like makeshift backpack. He asked us who we are, and we played off that with like saying we're merchants and that we'll be on by to see his shop. We made our way toward the fighting pits because we're still trying to save 2 of our friends here.
Yeah.
We saw a humanoid being who was an earth genasi ahead of us, wearing like a green vest and pants, who was keeping a close eye on us. And we saw these just like giant statues of marble and granite lining the path towards the pit.
The pit being, of course, the name for the fighting pits in the Scar, just known as the pit.
We saw a statue of Kiva, known as the breaker of Barbos, and then we see Barbos.
Kiva Flinthand?
Yes.
Great. It's all come together.
Who is the sand giant who wore the wraps that Kiva wore, and then Torn wore and was buried with.
Yeah. So fun fact about those wraps. So Kiva was wearing these hand wraps, and we took them. Torn wore them, and then we buried Torn in them. But she took them from Barbos. So they are this is just a little chatwater exclusive, because Torn is buried under a temple, and we are not going to dig him up.
Which temple?
The Temple of Arathis.
Okay.
He's buried under that temple. Those are they're from the Tal'Dorei campaign guide. They're a vestige from the Tal'Dorei campaign guide. Those are the wraps of Daimak, which are like a legendary monk weapon. That if you go to take them, you have to kill the person who was previously wearing them. So like Torin could take them from Kiva, because he killed her. Kiva could take them from Barbos because she killed him. But if we went to take the wraps off of Tauren, one of us would have had to fight ghostly Tauren.
Rad.
Oh, would it have been ghostly Tauren that we would have had to fight, not Zacchus, because technically Zacchus killed Tauren, and then technically Callie killed Zacchus, so technically the wraps are Callie's?
I believe it was an explosion that killed Tauren.
But we didn't kill Tauren, so we can't
have
take
to fight an explosion.
We'd have to fight ghost Tauren.
That's
just a fun little chatwater fact.
With those statues there, would letters have been there, or was it only dead champions?
He never made it to champion. He was a contender. That little joke where it's like, y'all ruined my life, I could have been champion. That's like Chatwater will get to here. But if Blackwater and Letters would have never lined up, there's a good chance he could have been champion or just dead. Yeah. That's how it goes in the gladiatorial ring.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so no letters.
No letters.
Okay, keep going, Len.
Yeah, we saw a jade building off to the side. Kreger told us that it was Zamorod's compound.
Fucking hate that guy.
Yeah. We got into the pit to see in the box seats are like Drow and their guards on their sides, the desert giants on the other.
The Dow, sorry.
The Dow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
There are cages built into the lower walls of the pit, sent to release some fun little beasts and creatures. And that's where we saw the fight ongoing, a desert giant and a large formed creature with a weird maw. Kreger informed us that was Zorn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't talked to Kreger in so long.
We don't really talk to him anymore. Him and Gorge.
We used to talk to him so much.
He used to be the only Petch with us at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one I saved, right?
Yes, he's the OG Petch.
The OG Petch, Callie and Camilla saved together.
I keep saying this. You got to bring your wife to the Blackwater Bar and Grill and just have a lovely date night. Like, have some scrambled eggs, see your friends. We have a kids menu.
I think we played it through on Blackwater that Callie and Camilla were like, yeah, we never go there.
We never go
just
out
like, to each other. We never go to. Yeah, the two of them don't go out. It's the queen and her wife. Like, I feel like there's some. I don't know.
They went out in Southwatch when they were on vacation.
Yeah.
When you went surfing, I think
there was like a little bit of crowds, wasn't there?
Yes.
Like there was a
little bit. Yeah.
We went out early morning to be.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the Blackwater Bar and Grill has ghost bouncers. If anyone tries to give you trouble, like they got it taken care of. Codis.
Codis would be so on that.
I'm still waiting for that not Callie. The command letters conversation where Camille like thanks letters for protecting her wife with the thing.
I want that. I can't wait.
We saw
We'll let that one sit. Give that one time. The longer that one goes on, the better it'll be. Like a fine wine.
Yeah, it'll just be like at Callie's funeral one day.
Barf, get out of here. Keep luring. Get out of here.
We saw Zamrod in a very high box with the large hammer made of emerald. We saw Kern and Mira next to him. Them looking like he's stealing himself. Kern looking like he was like stealing himself to go in. He seemed to have lost an arm. Mira serving drinks and food for everyone. We made our way towards them. We were approached by an Earth Genasi in the green vest and pants who identifies himself as Glint, liaison for Zamorod.
Actually one of his kids, technically, but introduces himself as a liaison for Zamorod.
Fun. We pitch it to him to fight whomever and whatever he'll throw against us. If we can have Kern and Mira, we try to play it off like we're curious about them. Glint knows there's something up. But after conferring with Zamorod, agrees that it's a fight to the death. If we win, we get Kern and Mira. If we lose, we die. We didn't know who we'd be fighting. Yeah. So that's when we were led down to the tunnels below the pits. God, this was such an episode.
I know.
We were led down to the tunnels below the pits by a Petch named Crag. Crag?
Yep.
Who had met Kreger before. They lead us in. Kern isn't with us. We go into the ring and see that we're set to fight a desert giant named Kazim, Zorn, 2 basilisks, and Kern. The fight kicks off with Neppy using feigned death to make it seem like she's killed Kern so we can get him out.
So in that moment,
so clever.
Yeah. So we realized that Kern was fighting on the opposite team, and we were like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Because I can't
it's fight to the death.
It's fight to the death. So I need to make it look like I killed Kern. And then I was like, I looked at Kern and I was, because feign death, you have to be willing.
Yeah.
And I looked at Kern and I was just like, let it happen. And he was like, oh, okay, Nippy. And then and then I cast feign death on him and he just fucking passes out. And I just and the crowd went nuts because it looked like Neppy one shot killed him.
Yeah. Oh my god. So that was so we could get him out. We ended up killing everything. Yana turning Kazum into a zombie under her control. At the end of the fight, Neppy points up at Zamrod using Destroy Undead, crumbles Kazum into dust. After doing this, gets smoked by just like a spear in her shoulder, which almost knocked her out. Malik, a powerful desert giant who was Kazum's uncle. Malik,
so it was just like, so Yana had been raising like Kazim as a zombie because he was so big, and then I was like, yeah, a real fuck you to Zamrod. So Neppy just goes like, and then just crumples him. And then she just like, because she's standing the dower over there, the sand giants are behind her, and she just gets hit and like knocked to the ground and almost pinned to the ground by this like 12-foot long spear that Melek threw into her shoulder. It knocked me down to like 3 hit points. I would have been out. Yeah, it was bad.
God. We made our way out. We met up with Lynn. Callie carrying Kern over her shoulder because we were like, he's dead. He's like, we get him.
Yeah.
Saying dead is fine as alive. Mira is brought to us. We're given Champion's drink, which is in a cask. And it's a fermented drink made from spider milk.
This is the first time spider milk has ever been brought in. And we were like, we all drank it. Yeah.
Krager told us that we're really lucky to get that. We take a couple sips. It's heavily alcoholic. Glenn also invites us to dine with Zamrod, and we say we'll let him know. Then we left and we made our way over to the slab, a marble building that serves as an inn and lodging.
And that was the end of the episode. And then I think we have time for one more because this will truly get us to letters. Session 28, done and dusted, May 26th, 2020. Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty short little recap anyway, because we've got had a couple questions in the chat that they want to throw to you, Sean.
Absolutely.
So as we approach the slab, which is this marble building, we see various creatures tied up outside, or various creatures outside, sorry, not tied up. Dow, there's some petch that are chained, reptilian creatures that are tied up. There's Earth Genasi men and women and folks serving various patrons. It seems to be more the Dow part of town, because it seems like the scar is divided. There's the Dow on one side and the giants on the other. We pay for rooms and we realize that they are overcharging the shit out of us. They're just like, they're charging us an exponential amount of money because they know we're not from here. And we're just like, we'll pay whatever you want. We don't want to cause trouble. I'm not here to bargain. Like, I just want to pay for my rooms and have some peace and quiet.
Yeah.
So Kern and Mira hide out in the rooms. We end up waking up Kern. He's like, oh my God, what happened? And we're like, you're out. It's okay. We're going to get you home. And they just pass out, because they'd essentially been in slavery for a couple weeks, or like maybe 2 weeks, and we had finally gotten them out. So we take a long rest, because all of us were hurting after that fight. Then the next morning, we see that there are 3 desert giants watching us from outside the windows across the street. We meet up and we decide to decline Zamrod's invitation for dinner. And we go downstairs to start our day. However, just as we're about to settle in for some breakfast, we see this very handsome, very dashing Minotaur approaching us, waving goodbye to a lady Minotaur that he's leaving the bar. He's wearing a cape with an insignia of 2 horns, and he introduces himself as Letters. He says he works for Baba, who's a new up-and-comer in the Scar with an eye for fighters, and she wants us to make an offer to come fight for her. He'll offer us 1,000 gems up front as an incentive, and we have to get the rest as a signing bonus if we come to have dinner with her.
Let me tackle this. So this has to date been my favorite way to start a campaign just for me, because Tim was like, here's the deal. I was like, I'm a Minotaur gladiator. He's like, sick. You work for this person. you have this much money to offer these people. So I just had $6,000 sitting in my pocket. And he was just like, which Letters just took with him. Letters was the richest one in the party and still is.
Yes, by far.
Yeah.
But it was just like, yeah, your job is to convince these people. And I was like, oh, Sean Deppner is good at that.
Well,
and it was just
because originally the setup had been like, because I think it was like we were playing D like out of character, of course. Like we were playing D&D that night, and the only way that Adam would have been able to make it, because you and Adam were at Yanis's bachelor party.
Oh yeah.
That weekend, and the only way that Adam would have been able to make it is if you gave him a ride, and because he didn't have a car, and so Adam was like, "Can Sean just come guest?" And we were all like, "Yeah, of course, Sean can come guest."
It was like, oh yeah, while you're 2 or 3 sessions while you're in the elemental plane or whatever. Yeah. So I was just like, I'm going to try to throw a spoke, a thing in the spokes, and just genuinely trying to convince them to stay. I'm gonna do my best, and I think I got pretty close. I was like, yo, you got to be a prize fighter. It's rad. I do it. I love it. Y'all are gonna dig this. There's so much money.
You were as far as Letters went, you were like very invested in us becoming some of Baba's fighters.
Yeah, I'm good at what I do. You can give me a mission. But then there was a turning point.
Yes.
At one point,
yeah, go ahead.
The party. I'm now I know what happened.
chatWater, you're getting there. Sean's getting there.
This is Sean Deppner's time. Burn your clocks, fight your trees, and it's Sean Deppner's time. The tipping point where they're like, oh, thank you very much. This all sounds really great, but we actually have to get out of here. And I was like, what? Letters was like, what? They're like, yeah, we're going to go back to our home plane. And Letters like, you can do that? That you can't leave the Scar. And they're like, no, we can. Do you want to come? And Letters was like, yeah. It was just like, oh, I never knew there was an option to leave. So I've just been making the best for myself. But you guys are bouncing. And then from that moment, it was like, I need to make sure these people make it out alive.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So we said, come sit with us. Yeah. And basically we say, we're going home soon. We can't stay here. He's shocked that we have the potential to leave. And he says, I'll show you around the Scar while you're here. And we say, we'll think about his offer. And he's really like, I'm gonna hang out with these people.
Callie didn't like Letters here.
No.
Callie didn't like Letters.
What didn't Callie like about him?
She just didn't. She didn't dig him. She didn't enjoy what he was laying down or his vibe. She was pretty wary of him.
I mean, I guess.
I was basically trying to recruit you to a life of slavery.
Yeah. Indentured servitude.
Servitude.
Where you get the rewards of being like a prize fighter.
Yeah,
and all the
indentured
accolades.
Celebrity.
Yes, an indentured celebrity.
It's great. You get all this awesome stuff. You are technically property, but if you're ever going to be property, let me tell you, that was more or less the conversation.
So we head to the bazaar. And we take a look around and we poke through Aleem's shop and we see some really cool items in there. And most surprisingly, we see some of the items that were in the Adonis one-shot that our characters had when we got sent out of the waypoint. Because basically anything you get when Adonis has you gets distributed into the world. So there's a robe of stars somewhere. There is all of this kind of stuff somewhere that we could just find. And there was the Circlet of Need, which is a very, very powerful magical item, which was in Aleem's shop, which we did not have enough money for at the time. And I was choked. I was sad because I was like, that is a good
I think
item.
about that often. I think about that item often.
It's a very good item. So we then go to Jongle's Conch. This is the first time we go to Jongle's, and Letters knows the bar run by the Dow Jongles, and we chat more about the deal. And then we say to Letters, like, no, we can't be prize fighters for Baba. We have to get out of here. But we got to go break this petch out because we promised our friend we would. Do you want to come? And Letters is like, yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'll come.
Let's do it.
So Letters has a good relationship with Jongles, so he offers us to have us come into the back room so we can plan. But just as we're about to go in, We get attacked by 4 desert giants and a basilisk from outside in the street. We end up killing 2 of them, and then we run the fuck away from the other 2 because we were getting low on hit points and they were just smoking us with boulders. And it was it. And that's where we end that session.
Bliggity bloom.
Man.
And here we are, the party as it is now. Callie, Letters, Finnan, Kokanee, Yana, Neppy.
Blackwater Prime.
Blackwater. The full Blackwater.
True Blackwater.
Man, so good. We got through like 5 episodes. I think 4 or 5 today.
That's got to be a record.
The record is 6.
Fuck that. This is the record.
This is the record. This one's the record.
But before we dip out, you said chat has some questions. I know chatwater generally don't answer some questions, but you have brought them up.
I did. The question that was brought up, one of the biggest questions that was brought up in chat that you haven't already answered was, what was some of your inspiration for Letters and what made you want to bring him to the session?
Oh, well, the wonderful thing was I was like, oh, I'm guesting for 2 or 3. Tim, where is it at in the story? What do you need? And he was like, well, this is where they are. This is the things. I was like, Gladiator sounds fun. Minotaurs are a thing, absolutely. And I just think but muscle wizards are hilarious. So I mean, if we're talking about like the grand like library of muscle wizards, that of course starts with the progenitor muscle wizard, Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes, so good.
But in addition to, because he's bovine, the voice was deeply inspired by Ryan Stiles's impression of John Wayne, which you would mixed with Ryan Stiles's impression of a moose being territorial with the cameraman. All of this from Points Don't Matter. What is it called?
Whose line is it anyway?
Whose line is it anyway? Yeah, that's where I'm trying to think of other classic muscle wizards. I think it's really just Armstrong. God, the man who just launched 1,000. We fucking love muscle wizards because, like, here's the thing. Why was there only one ripped wizard in Harry Potter? It was that one werewolf dude. Why weren't do fucking wizards not like CrossFit? Like, at no point in all 8 films.
I think that's like the whole basis of their class is that they don't need to be strong.
Yeah, but surely, like, just to be like hot.
Their brains are strong.
Brains are.
No,
hot
I get it.
strong.
I get it. But like, there's athletes. Could we not have gotten one bludger who was like, I hit the thing and then I kissed my bicep? Like, no strong wizards in Harry Potter. That's fucking, like, world building. Have one strong wizard. That's my.
Well, now we have one. We have our strong wizard, and that's all we need. That is all we need.
Muscle wizards are fun, and there's not enough of them. And then a lot of Ryan Styles. Just having a heap load of fun with the naming schemes.
Yes.
In terms of what is the reality of Minotaur, because I find Minotaur actually pretty fascinating. And whenever I play animalistic races, because I know I had a misspent youth watching way too much Discovery Channel or Animal Planet, whatever you call it, where you're from. So I have a lot of like armchair biology under my skin.
I love that.
And so I'm like, okay, what are cows like? How long did they live? About 30 years. That's really fun. The short-lived bovine race.
We've also talked a lot too about like your love of. We've talked a lot about like Minotaur anatomy, and we've had that discussion muchly about your love of cows. So
yeah,
I love cows. Just in general, I love cows.
Cows are great. But yeah, just in terms of what is the name, and I love this. I love that the core thing of Tabaxi in D&D, that their names are like these specific nicknames of like, they're not like, I'm Carl. It's always like Flask of Wine or River Running Uphill or something, and then they'd be called like Flask or River or something. Yeah. And I really liked that their names also actually deeply inspired by the clone troopers from Star Wars Clone Wars, the CGI thing that takes place between episode 2 and episode 3 with clone culture. If you haven't watched the show, it's great. But the best part, in my opinion, is clone culture, because it's like a whole cast of characters all played by the same guy, but all have the exact same appearance, same raising, but they have a quest for identity. And so they have their number, 2-4, but they all develop their own name and whatnot based off of their personality, which they don themselves. And I always thought that was super cool. And so the idea in Minotaur society that naturally you'd be given a nickname growing up, but that you could earn your own as you went. But
also,
letters...
I just want to put it out there to the to everyone who's watching right now. This is the level of thought that Sean had about a one-shot character, or a 3-shot guest arc. Because
to be very clear, I'm going to write 3 pages of thing, but your question is written in a way that is rife for tangent for me, which what are your inspirations? Because I love content and
Sean, I've
really
seen the letters documents.
For if you want visual reference, I could tell you exactly what letters looks like.
Oh yeah,
but Tiana got it pretty good. Tiana got it
she's
pretty good.
nailing it. She's nailing it, of course. That's what letters looks like. I don't have to tell you. We got Tiana to do it. Miss Marston, check her out. But yes, I'll stop. But it's for me.
Love it.
So whenever I see something, anything I watch or read that or come across where it has a really interesting idea, I'm like, oh, that's great. And a lot of those ideas where I'm like, ooh, I wish a show would have explored more about that. Much like the clones and Clone Wars, and really specific things. That's one of the things I love about D&D is I get to then incorporate that into something that I love and explore it in my own way. And so, D&D is not just for fantasy, but also philosophical exploration.
Sean, I have one more question for you. Question for you, and then we'll end it on tonight. Was there a point where, because of course the impetus of you coming to play with us was this will be a 2 or 3 shot guest spot. Was there a point where you were like, oh, I want to play with the party on an ongoing basis?
Oh
yeah, the first session, no, pre-session, because we had technically done a crossover where Jen, yourself, and Len all came and played at our thing. I was like, these people are great. I don't think I'd really met Tim prior to that, but I'd heard so many wonderful things about them, and I just love good D&D. So just in the process of taking the ferry over between Vancouver Island and Vancouver, which is a 2-hour trip, I just paced around the ferry trying to find his voice and really dialing in. I was like, I love this guy already. We'll see, but I hope something comes of this. I had no reason to believe that it wouldn't be excellent.
Yeah.
And I was sort of hedging my bets where it's we're here for 3, let's not get our hopes up. We're going to make the best 3-shot possible with, what the story needs. But, I was like, give me more of this.
I think I texted Len after the first session that you were there, and I was like, I want Sean to play with us all the time. And I said that to Tim. I was like, I think Sean, I love playing with Sean. I want more of this. And he's like, well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what the story does, see what he does. And I was like, yeah, narrative. But I was like, but I want Sean to play with us.
Because the narrative out of Letters gets free of the scar and is allowed to be his own man totally works. Yep. And then it's, thank you very much. I'm in the prime material plane. I'm going to go chase some furbolgs. That's great. And we love that for our guy.
You could at a giant whale.
And then you end up mooing at a giant whale.
By choice.
Well, I feel like there could have been a universe in which Letters ends up in what's the name of the Firbolg town? Hartsvale?
Sure.
Yeah, the one where you fought where you fought Baymore and had fisticuffs.
Fucking buddy.
Yeah, fucking buddy pal over there, bud. I feel like Letters could have been perfectly happy in that town.
Here's the secret. Letters could have been happy anywhere. Letters' whole thing is freedom, and we've talked about that. Yanis is really dialed in on that. I was like, yeah, actually, you've identified my character better than I. And just being free of the scar, that's what was really so satisfying in terms of what he set up. Is it's a slave state, you're a gladiator. I'm like, well, I'm like, okay, there was a number of things I could have been, but like Gladiator sounds fun. And just that would have been a very satisfying thing. Sweet, thank you for letting me out. I'm going to go be free. And really, what the campaign has just been an extension of that and an exploration of what freedom is. Cool. At least 4 letters. Because again, that goes back to the talk in the money hole, where everyone's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And Letter says, I do want to be here because we're doing something that matters. Yeah. And so now, like, Letters' journey has gone from a quest for freedom to a quest for meaning, because he didn't have either of those back in the day. And now he's got one. And well, as
I guess he
most people can tell you. Yeah, that's exactly it. No. Like,
the brands
I'm saying,
gone,
the quest,
right?
That was, I mean, someone can kill you, but you choose whether you're free or not.
This is true.
But yeah, the quest for meaning is something that I'm sure many of us can identify with, and it's not really a place that you arrive, but more of a practice.
And that's the ultimate hero's journey, is it not? Like I think
blowing up the Death Star is
100%. Yeah, no,
that's
you're 100%
that's the best
right.
one.
I think all of our characters, in some way, shape, or form, are on their hero's journey or on their way to blow up their own Death Star, whatever.
But that's what I love about Neppy, is she did. And what do you do after the Death Star is blown up? Mm-hmm. Like, you've done your prophecy twice over, effectively. And now you really know you got your prophecy. And it's like, you were raised as a divine bullet to be fired to stop the thing, and you were ready to be fired into the fucking thing, and we pulled you back, and now you're like, oh, I guess I'm alive, and I'm the high priestess, so I guess I get to make my own rules. What do they want to be? Like, that's fucking great to me. I love that.
It's fun. It's fun to play.
Yeah.
My girl gets to search for meaning that is hers to choose rather than one just given to her.
And fucking Callie, I got vengeance. Now what? I'm not mad anymore.
What in terms of life?
Well, no. But in terms of narrative mechanics, but also just good D&D. That conversation of hey, my God, who I am a paladin to, I want to help, but what we've done doesn't work for me anymore. And
good.
What can we do about this? I'm not mad anymore. Fucking 5 words or whatever. I'm not mad anymore. Anymore is 1 word. 4. Fuck.
I'm not.
That's why I'm bad at sending. That's on my greatest hit list for my.
So cool.
I think my top moments with Callie, is I'm not mad anymore. Her talk with Letters about what it feels like to heal, like that, because that was just off the top of my head. I was like, fuck, what is it to feel like to heal? And then any Kamea moment.
So good. And I think that's a lovely segue too, to remind the wonderful folks in our beautiful, beautiful community that if you want to vote on what the best moments in our campaign are so far, there is a wonderful form that I've just popped up in the chat for the Gravelies. Please go vote. If you like what you see and you like what you hear, go vote over there, and then come back and hang out with us on Wednesday, where we have some fun and give each other some awards for stuff fictional people did.
Messed up. I completely forgot about the I'm not mad anymore when I fucking nominated my favorite Callie moment.
I mean, you can go back and vote again. I wouldn't.
It's not on the thing. I don't think it even made it. It didn't get nominated. I don't know.
The new oath. For favorite Callie moment is the oath to her wife is on there.
Oh, that's all the part of it.
Yes.
I voted for the fuck you game because that is
the fuck you game was really good.
It's a close second. The fuck you game with the boys. Those are really 2 very iconic Callie moments on opposite ends of the Callie spectrum.
Those are the 2 sides of Callie.
I love my wife. I would do anything. I'm going to take an oath to a god for you, and also
fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Oh my god!
She gave that pipe away.
You did. You gave it to some
to those
sweet
fucking powerful teens.
The teens.
The teens.
Which I think is very funny.
Thank you all so much for coming to hang out with us tonight. As we said, we will be back on Wednesday for the Gravelies. Please come hang out with us. It's going to just be a delightful time. It's just going to be a blast and a half. We're going to go raid. We're going to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have one for us?
Oh.
I do have one for us. They are currently on break, but I promise you they seem very, very sweet.
We love that. Can you throw it to me in a Facebook message? Because I have to open our Twitch and do a bunch of logistical stuff on the side. So we're going to hop into the outro screen and just hang out for there. If you want to come raid with us, please send along love from Blackwater, and please give these wonderful people who are called Dragons and Dreamers a follow.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're excited.
All women.
I
heard them say a Raven Queen. It seems that like they're in a
love
battle.
That. We love that. We're here for them. Gonna go give them to support while they're fighting the Raven Queen. So love to you all, and we will see you Wednesday. Good night, y'all.
Oh, Muscle Wizards, Combustion Man from Avatar. I know they're not technically wizards, but they do magic. Combustion Man's a great representative.
Magic.
The